Hey, good morning. Today is lesson 7.7 on page 297 and 298. Okay. All right. Today we're talking about interest. And the kind of interest we're talking about is if, say, for instance, you or your parents deposit a certain amount of money in the bank, you put it in your bank account and you just let it sit there. You don't take it out, you just let it sit there for a certain amount of time and it will get you some interest. So you will make a little money off of that. Or if your parents get a loan from the bank, they have to pay a certain amount of interest on that loan. So that's what we're talking about today. Okay, we're just going to do the very first part of the lesson. I've simplified it for you a great deal. So if you will really pay attention to this formula um, and do what I show you how to do, you should be fine. Okay, sometimes you may have to watch the videos more than once so that it'll be a little slower for you. And as you watch it a few times, maybe each time you'll pick up something that you didn't remember from the first time. So don't feel bad if you have to do that, but make sure you take time to do that. Okay, here's a formula that you need to write in your flip chart. Okay, this is the formula to find interest. Okay, and here's what it stands for. I is equal to interest. Okay, interest equals P for principal. That's either the amount of the money that you put in the bank, the deposit, or the amount of the loan that you get from the bank. And the rate, remember, rate will be a percentage. Okay, it'll be in a percent form. So principal times rate times the time. How long has your money been in the bank, or how long is your loan for? Is it for 1 year or 2 years? So that time is in years. Okay, so that's what this stands for. Interest equals, take your principal times your rate times your time. Okay, all right, now I am at the bottom of page 297 on example number 1. It says, find the simple interest earned from a one-time investment of $3,000. Okay, there's your principal, your $3,000. So I'm going to plug that in here where it says principal. Okay, $3,000 at 8% interest. So here's times 8% interest. And it says if the account is closed at the end of 2 years. So it's times your 2 years. Now, if you multiply these out correctly, you'll get what your interest is. So let's do the first two. 3,000. So $3,000 times, now remember, when you multiply by a percent, you've got to change that percent to a decimal. Okay, and you should have that procedure written in your flip chart if you did what I asked you to do. Okay, so 8%, 8 is like a whole number. So with 8 being a whole number, it's like your decimals here. And if you take it 2 places to the left, it's 0.08. Okay, so $3,000 times 0.08. Okay, so multiply it out. And then this is 0, so all those answers will be 0. So there's really no need to do that row. But we don't have any decimal places here, 2 here, for a total of 2, 1, 2. So now you have 240, okay? And since we don't have anything here, that's like $240. So what you do is you take your $240, multiply it times your years, which is 2. So $480 would be your answer there. Okay? All right, now, if that confused you, watch it again, step by step. You may even need to read over example 1 in your book. Look how they showed you the answer. And if you really take the time to do that, this should be fine. I give you formulas. All you got to do is plug it in and do the process, which here is multiplication. Okay? All right, let me give you another one. There is another example in your book that you can look at, example 2 on page 297. I'm going to do a different one with you though, okay? Let's say you got a loan this time for $400, okay, from the bank. You got it for 10% interest for 9 months. So not even a whole year. Okay? So now, remember, interest equals principal times rate times time. So we're going to figure out what our interest will be that we're going to have to pay on that over the 9 months. So interest is what we're figuring out. Okay, our principal would be our $400. Okay, times our rate, which will be our 10%, times the time in years. Well, that's not even a year, it's 9 months. So if it's not even 1 year, if it's just a few months, okay, if it's less than a year, we're going to have to take that 9 months and put it over 12, because that's 9 months out of 12, 9 months out of the year. Okay, now that's very important that you know that. Let me say it again. If it's only for a certain amount of months, less than 12 months, you've got to take that number of months and put it over 12. And then if you can reduce it, let's reduce it. So if you reduce that, let's see, that'll be 3/4. And then you have to take the 3/4 and you need to make that into a decimal so it's easier to multiply. Okay? Remember how to make 3/4 into a decimal? 3 divided by 4. Top number goes inside the box, bottom number goes outside. Now, many of these concepts you should already know because we learned them, okay? All right, 4 won't go into 3, so we put a decimal point and a 0. So 4 goes into 30 7 times. 4 times 7 is 28. Subtract, we get 2. Let's add one more 0 and bring it down. 4 goes into 20. 5 times 4 times 5 is 20, okay? So we have 0.75. Okay? So here's what you have to do. Take $400 times 10%, make it a decimal. So our decimal point's here, so 2 places to the left would be 0.10. Okay? Let's see. All right, so you've got 40.00 times your 0.75. Okay? All right. Now, I'm not going to go through and do all this with you because you know how to multiply. But if you get the correct answer and put your decimal point in the correct place, there's 2 decimal places here for a total of 2 and 2 here for a total of 4, okay? You should actually get this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's your answer, okay? $30. There's your $30. That's the interest you'd have to pay, okay? All right, so that's how you do that kind. Okay, now when you do your skill check on page 298, you're only going to do numbers 1 and 2, okay? And then send me those answers, okay? Again, take time to look at this video again. Take time to study the examples in your book, and you should do well if you're following the formula, okay? Have a great day.